You ever just have one of those moments where everything you've been putting up with for months, maybe even years, suddenly just snaps? Well, for me, it all started with a jet ski and a neighborhood tyrant. And trust me, this is one of those stories you'll want to hear because it got saw dramatic, real fast. It was a warm Saturday morning when I first met Linda Carrington. She was standing in front of my driveway, hands on her hips, eyes narrowed, with a clipboard that looked like it had just come out of the "you'll get arrested" department. She had this aura about her, like someone who had nothing better to do than ruin everyone else's good time. And trust me, I was about to find out that she absolutely thrived on that. But before we dive into Linda and her ridiculous rules, let me set the scene. I had just moved to this quiet little lakeside town a few months ago. I'd inherited a place from my aunt, who'd passed away not long before. It wasn't the mansion on the hill, but it was cozy, tucked away by the water, and had a garage big enough for my dream toy, my jet ski. Finally, after years of sharing one with my buddies, I could finally ride on my own turf. And let me tell you, that jet ski meant more to me than just some toy. It was freedom. It was therapy. It was my escape from the grind. So, I spent the first few days settling in with my dad. We fixed up the house, put the jet ski in the water for the first time, and I could finally say that life felt pretty good. Peaceful. That's all I wanted: peace, a little solitude, and a place to unwind. But, of course, peace doesn't last long. The first time Linda showed up, I was unloading the jet ski from its trailer, getting ready to take it for a spin. I had my favorite tunes playing, a cooler packed with snacks, and the biggest smile on my face. I was just about to drop it into the lake when I heard this shrill voice. At first, I thought it was the sound of a car alarm, but no, it was much worse. I turned around, and there she was, Linda. She was decked out in this pastel pink getup, the kind you might expect from a beachgoer who's already had too much sun. But here's the kicker. She wasn't there to offer me a cup of lemonade or talk about the weather. No, she was there with a clipboard in hand, ready to ruin my day. She marched up to me, looked at my jet ski like it was the most offensive thing she'd ever seen, and hit me with the line I'll never forget. "Your jet ski is in violation of Article 14, subsection 3B of the Neighborhood Agreement. You need to remove it immediately." I blinked. "Who are you?" I asked, totally confused. "I'm Linda Carrington. I'm the HOA president, and this monstrosity doesn't belong here." She practically spat the words at me, like I was some criminal for wanting to enjoy my own property. I tried to reason with her, explained that my property had been deeded to me before the HOA even existed. I told her the lake was county managed, not some HOA-owned water park. But nope, Linda wasn't hearing it. She called the jet ski an aquatic chainsaw and accused me of ruining the peace and quiet of the neighborhood. Keep in mind, the kid next door was blasting dubstep music while washing his car, and some other guy 3 doors down was running a chainsaw to carve a bear out of a tree stump. But, apparently, my jet ski was the real problem. She stormed off after that, VYing me with a violation notice. The next day, I found it taped to my garage door like it was a big "Your Next" sign. $100 fine, and I had to remove the jet ski. My dad and I had a good laugh about it. He even joked that we could just send Linda a fruit basket to say, "Thanks for reminding us to never take things like HOA rules seriously." But I wasn't done yet. That night, I did some digging on Linda. Turns out, this woman wasn't just about jet skis. Oh no, she had a history. Linda had fined a guy for installing solar lights because they were too bright. She once banned flamingo lawn ornaments because she claimed they encouraged flamingos to come and nest in the neighborhood. Spoiler alert, there are no flamingos in this part of the state. As I learned more about her, I found out she was like the neighborhood sheriff, a self-appointed dictator who enforced rules however she saw fit, no matter how petty or unreasonable they were. And I wasn't the first one she'd gone after. Other neighbors were reaching out to me, quietly telling me how they'd been bullied by her in the past. One guy got fined for VYing a banner at his birthday party. A retired couple got dinged for using colored mulch in their yard. So, here's where things got interesting. Linda had no idea that, for once, I wasn't just going to take it. I wasn't going to let her bully me out of VYing a little fun. Every day for the next week, I went out on my jet ski legally, of course, staying within the boundaries that I knew were fine. But just civil enough so that Linda couldn't pretend I wasn't there. I'd wave to neighbors as I glided across the lake. And of course, Linda would pop out from behind bushes, filming me with her phone like some sort of undercover agent. Then one morning, she slipped. She tried to stop me by stepping onto my dock, but she lost her balance, fell straight into the lake. It was like something out of a cartoon. She looked like a wet cat, her VY sore askew, spluttering and flailing. I offered her a towel, but she responded by calling the sheriff. The sheriff came, laughed, and told her to dry off and go home. Now here's the kicker. Linda decided to take things further and sent me another violation notice, this time with a due lot 200 fine. And I knew that was it. This wasn't just about me anymore. I wasn't going to let her run this neighborhood with an iron fist. I gathered my team. My dad, who's a retired physics teacher, my best friend from high school who'd become an engineer, and a group of tech-savvy neighborhood teens who were already building drones out of RC cars. The plan? Simple. I was going to make Linda's life a leave-vying nightmare. We spent the next few days building what we called Operation Jet Launch. The idea was to launch my jet ski straight into her backyard pool. Not just any launch, though. No, we were going big. We were going saw spectacular saw. The kids built the system, a hydraulic launch pad powered by a smartphone app. We tested it with a dummy payload first, just to make sure everything worked. And when it did, oh man, we knew we were ready. The day of her big HOA celebration arrived. It was her moment of triumph, a party she'd funded with our neighborhood's money. The irony wasn't lost on me. The whole neighborhood was going to pay for her little fiesta, and I was about to turn it into the most epic HOA showdown ever. So, there I was, sitting on my porch with a cold lemonade, watching Linda's party unfold. Her guests were all gathered, sipping their fancy drinks, acting like they owned the place. But little did they know, it was all about to go down. At exactly 3 p.m., I hit the button. The jet ski flew through the air, perfectly aimed for her pool. Time slowed down as I watched it soar over her hedges and plunge into the water with a thunderous splash. People screamed. Drinks went flying. Some guests dove for cover. The inflatable swan in her pool flew across the yard like it was in a disaster movie. And Linda? Well, she stood there, screaming for someone to arrest me, her voice cracking with disbelief. I didn't even move. I just sat back, sipping my lemonade, watching history unfold. The drone footage was already making its rounds. The entire neighborhood was talking about it, and it wasn't long before the VY Deo went viral. But the best part? Watching Linda's reign crumble. Within a week, Linda was removed from her position as HOA president. Turns out, her party had exposed her for misusing HOA funds, throwing private events with our money. People began questioning her authority, and the board had no choice but to suspend her. As for me, well, I didn't just stand up for myself. I stood up for everyone who'd been bullied by Linda. So what's the moral of this story? Sometimes, it takes a ridiculous act to expose the ridiculousness around you. Sometimes, the best way to fight back against power-hungry people is with a splash literally. And I'll tell you this much, the neighborhood was never the same after that day. People started talking again. They stopped hiding behind their curtains, afraid of what Linda might say or do. They started hanging out, sharing stories, and enjoying life again. And me? Well, I've got the best jet ski story in the neighborhood. People even take pictures in front of my house now, trying to match the spot where the jet ski hit her pool. It's kind of ridiculous, but in the best way possible. So what do you think? Was I right to fight back? Or should I have just played by the rules? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about the whole HOA mess.